CNN is going to do their best to dismiss Elizabeth Warren, not only for right now because she's standing up against this corrupt budget bill, but also for a potential future presidential run.
The House of Representatives is about to show us the worst of government for the rich and powerful. The House is about to vote on a budget deal, a deal negotiated behind closed doors that slips in a provision that would let derivatives traders on Wall Street gamble with taxpayer money and get bailed out by the government when their risky bets threaten to blow up our financial system. These are the same banks that nearly broke the economy in 2008 and destroyed millions of jobs.
She's obviously a rising star in the Democratic caucus in the Senate. Some liberal groups are begging, pushing, pleading for her to run for president on the Democratic side. In that soundbite right there's a little bit of everything. That behind closed doors, a deal that helps the rich bankers, screws the little guy. Powerful speech, but not enough to stop this?
Well, she's very good at that populism thing. And she's sort of pulling a Ted Cruz here. She's standing over in the Senate and telling the House, stop this thing, don't do it. The reality is that her colleagues in the Senate actually negotiated this, and so she can stand on principle, but it looks to be pretty hard to stop.
You've had a lot of liberal groups raising money off Elizabeth Warren with these polls. You know, should Elizabeth Warren run for president? Or Move On says it's going to spend $1 million to encourage her, to draft her to run for president. Guess what? They're hoping to raise more than $1 million. They're supposed to get their money back by having that out there and pushing it around. But is there any reason to believe that because something she objects to profoundly is about to happen, that she'd change her thinking?
Well, the problem with the Elizabeth Warren caucus is it's just too small. Whether you're talking about in the Senate, in the House, or in the base of the Democratic Party. In real polls, Elizabeth Warren is not getting anywhere near the support that Hillary Clinton is, even among the liberal wing of the Democratic Party, where Hillary tends to do very well.
Among the liberal wing of the Democratic Party. So the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. You're saying that Hillary Clinton is more popular in those circles? Please. Now, it is true that overall, when you look at all Democrats, Hillary is much more favorable in the polls right now. There's no question about it. But you also could have had this exact same conversation in 2006 or early 2007 about a man by the name of Barack Obama. Remember, Hillary Clinton was anointed as the winner of the primaries before they even started. Oh, and that also happened with Rudy Giuliani in the Republican primaries. He was leading in all the polls going in to the primary race, and then he finished like dead last. And the media was anointing the winners. Oh, Hillary Clinton is unbeatable. You know, this guy, Barack Obama, he's coming up to the left of Hillary Clinton, but his caucus is too small. That's exactly what they just said about Elizabeth Warren. And by the way, if the polls reflect that she's not all that well known right now, and she's not all that popular right now, it's because you're not giving her nearly as much favorable slobbering press as you give of Hillary Clinton. Because if you go issue for issue, it's a fact that Elizabeth Warren is more with the American people, whereas Hillary Clinton is much more of a corporatist establishment Democrat, just like her husband, just like Barack Obama, and I would argue possibly even to the right of them. So there you have it again, man. CNN, the mainstream media, they're just going to dismiss. Believe me, this is what they always do. They will continue to dismiss Bernie Sanders. They will continue to dismiss Elizabeth Warren. If Alan Grayson were involved, they would dismiss him. Anybody who refuses to take endless amounts of Wall Street cash and donations from special interests, oh, they're not a serious candidate because they couldn't raise $1 billion and sell themselves out like whores. The mainstream media should be ashamed of itself because the whole idea of a free press is that you're supposed to be a check on power, a check on the government. So if you have a political candidate that comes along and says all the right things and falls in line with public opinion, you should point that out and you should talk about it like it's an amazing thing, but you don't. What do? They poo-poo her. Oh, she's a little force in the party. It's really, don't pay any attention. And did you notice what they said at the beginning there? She's really pulling a Ted Cruz. Oh, you're going to compare Elizabeth Warren to Ted Cruz. Here's the difference. When Ted Cruz gets up there and gives a non-filibuster filibuster, it's to take health care away from the American people. It's for something that the American people are against. Whereas with Elizabeth Warren standing up right now, she's standing up for the American people, not just for progressives, not just for Democrats, but also for conservatives and true capitalists, for people who don't want socialism for the rich, where when Wall Street loses when they gamble with derivatives, that the taxpayers have to rush in and save the day. Why should we have to bail them out again? We already bailed them out in 2008, and we didn't want to do it then, but they did it. And we don't want to do it now, but they're saying we're going to have to do it by law according to this new provision. So if CNN was doing their job, not only would they be propping up Elizabeth Warren in this respect and talking about it, they would be cheerleading her. Because again, if your job is to be the watchdog of the government for the American people, if that's the job of the press, you should be leading the way, saying this provision is unacceptable, it screws over the American people, and you need to stop it immediately. This isn't debatable, this isn't a question, it's clear that this comes about through corruption. It's clear that this comes about because the people on Wall Street are paying the politicians, the lobbyists are paying the politicians, so they do their bidding. That's the problem. That's the problem. But no, CNN is not doing their job. They're not talking about that. They're not a serious outlet. Instead, what do? A hack job on Elizabeth Warren.